Okay, good afternoon. My name is Karol Brzostowski. Thank you for a very nice introduction and inviting me in this event. Maybe I will start from presenting myself. So I'm working in ESA, in European Space Agency in ESTEC in Netherlands, in new associated and cooperating states section. Very complex name, but in few words, our section is dealing with new countries in ESA. The integration process of new countries in ESA is quite complex. Normally it is around 20 years or a bit more from the very beginning till the end. Latvia is somewhere in the middle or maybe just before the middle. I was very lucky because when I joined ESA 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, my first task was to take over from my, let's say, colleague, Latvia responsibility. I mean, we are working like that each country has country desk officer. So each country has separate person in ESA who is supporting this integration process on different levels. I mean, country level, so we are dealing with delegation, but also on the company level. So for example, now I am in full week in Latvia. I'm meeting a lot of companies, supporting them directly. Okay, today I would like to give you a few words about the requesting party activities. With this presentation and with this scheme, this is specific scheme organized or let's say prepared for associate members, and because Latvia is one of the associate member, it is also for Latvian users, and I met a lot of faces, a lot of people today which are already successfully using this fund, because we are running that since 2020. But I think I would like to focus on 3 aspects here. First of all, that through these funds, you can really do commercialization of your developments. I think it was mentioned by Natalie in the beginning that it is very important in Agenda 2025, these commercialization aspects. And new space also, this is one of the key driver, I would say. Second aspect is involvement of, let's say, or development of the international cooperation. Through these funds, you can ask, or let's say, you can finance or facilitate international cooperation, which is key when you would like to be successful in space business. And third aspects, I think in the round table before we heard about if it is easy to enter ESA and enter, let's say, space business. And this is one of the tools which help you. Angelina mentioned that there are some financial tools, and this is one of them. And I would say, yes, it is quite easy. The most challenging is to have really good idea. Okay, I will be quite, I think I would try to be short. So first I will explain what is requesting party activities, then a bit of overview and guidance, and in the end, I will give you a short summary about the first and second call, because we successfully finished, let's say, 2 calls, and the third call, initial planning for somebody who would be interested in joining the third call. Okay, as I mentioned, this is from our perspective, if somebody would like to join ESA and start his first contract with ESA, RPA should be the really key program. As you know, in ESA we've got a lot of different schemes, different programs, optional programs, mandatory programs, science missions. Most of them is available for Latvian entities. However, if you are a newcomer, I think the most important is to start from this RPA. Why? Because it is dedicated for you, it is dedicated for Latvian entities. So it means that competition is only local, it's national competition only. It is not open to any other ESA member states. However, cooperation with other entities from other ESA member states is very encouraged. I will tell you how. It is important, it is running call. Normally, we are opening 1 or 2 calls per year, and it will be running up to the moment you will be associate member. Or in some conditions, it could be even longer. Yeah. this is the question which I would like to answer. So for who is this RPA program? And I think the most important is the first one. So for the startups and newcomers to space. If you are thinking to start working with ESA or generally in space, this could be one of your first tool. This is quite easy and ideal entry point to space, to ESA funding. If you are well established, or let's say you've got few contracts in space, also there are a few options for you in this call. However, also we focus on the commercialization and market-oriented solutions here. And we are not excluded academia. There is also some activity types for academia as well. So generally, it is very broad and very flexible solution. Like you hear, this is, let's say, I will, of course, this presentation will be available for you. But generally, in one sentence, I can say that it is very broad and very flexible tool. I will not go maybe through all these points. However, exactly, it is covering most of the development phases, starting from very low TRL, from TRL 1 to 3, finishing up to the flight opportunities as well. Okay, how it works? Generally, it is open call. So it means that once or twice per year, we are issuing the ITT, invitation to tender, or ESA star publication now. However, your delegation after discussion with us decide about the budget and the activity types which could be eligible for this call. However, you decide about the topic. That's why it is called open call. So it's not ESA defining the statement of work, not ESA defining the scope of the idea, but you are proposing the topic, which must be in line with one of the activity types which are eligible for this call. There is standard ESA procurement process behind, so it is proposal template is XPro, quite easy, 25 pages proposal which you need to fulfill. What is important, before the call we are always giving briefing to the industry, so it means that we are explaining in details the next call. In the end, I will show you the planning for the third call, so I will tell you exactly when there will be briefing, next briefing. And what is important, during this briefing, there is also opportunity to have one-to-one meeting with ESA. So if industry has some questions, you can directly discuss with us if it is eligible for the call, if the idea is good or not. And before the call is open, we are really open to discuss with you. So it is not like that you shouldn't answer, you shouldn't ask some questions. All questions are good. And we are allowed to answer. When the call is open, unfortunately not. The process typically is for 6 or 8 weeks, it is open call. So when we open the call, you've got 6 or 8 weeks to answer to this call, so writing the proposal. Then it is 8 to 10 weeks of reviewing period on our side. Then it is acceptance period, and then the negotiation phase for the acceptance, for the accepted proposals. I will go a bit faster. Normally, we've got like a shopping cart. It is 8 activity types, starting from the preparatory activities, finishing on the space-related training courses. I will go one by one in the next few slides. However, for each call, your delegation is deciding which activity types will be eligible for this particular call. Okay, this is quite important slide. So generally, when you identify yourself on the left side, if you are a startup, or if you are other industry, let's say hardware industry, if you are downstream application industry, or your university or institute, you can find activity type which will be the most suitable for you. If you are a startup, activity type A, which is preparatory activities, aiming low tier level, or type H could be the best. There are some general constraints of the call, which is the same for all the, RPA scheme. So they are the same for all the calls. What I would like to mention here is that to support international cooperation, we've got this requirement, or let's say constraint number 5, that because it is a Latvian budget, Latvia entity must be the prime. However, you can spend 20% of your budget for external subcontractors. External, I mean from abroad. So this is very good opportunity to involve more experienced players or from other member states to do some part of work for you. And start international long-term cooperation, which is, I believe, key for long-term perspective. Time is running, so it is now 8 slides for each of the activity types, so only few words about each of them. As I mentioned, activity type A, research and preparatory activities, mostly focus on some feasibility studies, market research, market studies, TRL 1 to 3, 100K, ceiling price, very good entry point for the all newcomers, which they would like to check through this contract if the idea makes sense, if the idea is feasible generally. Activity type B, flight and ground segment R&D, so it is like standard R&D from TRL 3 to 5 normally. Normally it is between 250 and 500K. Type C, sorry, yes, this continuation of type D. Type B is a bit tricky one because in RPA we cannot overlap with any optional programs to which Latvia subscribed to. Latvia subscribed to GSTP and Future.io so far, and S2P and HRE, but only specific contract. So for type B, we should be very careful not to overlap with these programs which you subscribe to. Type C, it is flight opportunity. I mentioned very high TRL level. If you've got hardware, software at TRL at least 5, and you are looking for some first flight heritage, which is quite difficult to get this first flight heritage, you can find some external partner who will, let's say, take you on board, your hardware or software, and we will pay for this integration and we will pay for a launch to get the first heritage, because we believe that with the first heritage, flight heritage, it is much easier to enter space business, or let's say to continue space business. Type B is pure space science for academia. If you would like to use space data, you can find support in this type D. Type E, satellite development. It is, I think, yes, it is on pink or red. It is up to your delegation to decide if they would like to build national satellite. If yes, then we activate this activity type to do this phase A and B1, let's say the design of the national satellite mission. Type F, space applications. It is exactly aiming getting first customer, so commercialization of the idea, and here requirement is 25% of the industry co-funding. Mostly focus on downstream application here. Type G, education activities. We've got a few nice examples in Latvia that you are using this activity type G to develop the university courses aiming space technology. One, it is related with thermal management systems, and second, with telecommunication in Ventspils, and first one in Riga Technical University. And type H, sorry, it is training courses, small activity up to 10,000K. We can support industry to paying for some specialized space courses. Okay. 2 slides or 3. This is the summary of your 2 first calls. I hope the Kaspars will be not mad that I showed that, but it is only the statistics. So in total, first call, 22 proposals submitted, 9 accepted, almost 1 million. Now we are developing the contracts. And second call just finished, 11 proposals received, 5 proposals accepted, €500,000. more or less, I will tell you that your budget dedicated for RPA is around 1 million euro per year. So it is clear sign that you are not eating all the money yet. So generally, it is space for more proposals and more activities here. And the last slide, the plan for the third call, initial planning, it was agreed with Kaspars, with delegation, so we will have briefing to industry early September. So I will come again in beginning of September to give you more details about the next call. Calls open somewhere in mid-September, 8 weeks or 6 weeks, probably 6 weeks, end of October. And we should have the first contracts like in end of Q1, beginning of Q2, 2023. Of course, I am for your disposal during the maybe next break. If there will be any questions, you can also drop me an email always. For most of you, I think we know each other quite well. But if somebody would like to have more information, do not hesitate simply. Especially I would like to discuss maybe later with Czech colleagues, because this international cooperation is really key for us, and I believe this is a lot of space here for this exactly cooperation. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.